Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening. First tonight, we have breaking news on a major setback for the Macquarie Point Stadium. The Tasmanian Planning Commission handing down a scathing assessment in its report released late this afternoon, describing the project as an alien on the city's skyline and warning of a massive debt blowout.
They say if you build it, they will come. Not so, according to a 130-page draft assessment report, a withering appraisal for the Macquarie Point Stadium. Tasmania's Planning Commission accusing the government of excluding a range of costs from its $753 million estimate, projecting the final bill to exceed $1.4 billion. A figure debated by the Development Corporation, themselves still picking through the scathing report.
We've sought approval to develop the stadium. What's been assessed is much more extensive than that, so it considers the precinct, the stadium, and a large part of the road network that's around it.
The Planning Commission claims the build would add $922 million to the state's already ballooning debt. And after 10 years of running at a loss, that would climb to more than double. That's on top of not delivering the stated economic benefits, assuming fewer visitors than claimed and shorter stays. But the estimate is based on other clubs continuing to bring games to Tasmania, despite the Roos pulling out at the end of this season.
It is an issues report, so it focuses on areas where there's some further work to do. It doesn't so much touch on other areas where they might be broadly comfortable.
It also claims a detrimental effect on the cenotaph. And while the report notes there's a significant opportunity to create a vibrant waterfront precinct, it believes the current design won't be used by the public outside events.
And the proximity to the cenotaph is one of the things that we've thought about throughout the design of the precinct and the stadium. There are some sightline impacts and they've been identified.
And reporter Lily Thompson is at Macquarie Point. Now, Lily, this report is certainly sending shockwaves, but what does it mean for the project now?
Well, Kim, there's no denying it's a major setback, but the state government says it remains committed, with more than half the state said to be already against it. According to a recent poll, this report makes selling the stadium to the public a lot more difficult. Those building the stadium now have the opportunity to respond to the report, addressing elements like cost blowout and a lack of available space. They do need to do it quickly though, because the next step is community consultations. The Planning Commission's final verdict is expected to be delivered in September before it needs to pass both houses of Parliament. So there's no denying, Kim, it is a massive hurdle to get this stadium off the ground in time for the AFL's deadline.
That it is. Thanks very much there, Lily. Well, the Federal Coalition is promising to ban Chilean salmon imports over potential biosecurity risks to Tasmania's salmon industry. It comes as the Bob Brown Foundation launches a legal challenge against the Albanese government's laws to protect the sector's operations in Macquarie Harbour.
Tasmania's billion-dollar salmon industry has faced major headwinds from a recent disease outbreak and uncertainty from a legal challenge. With an election campaign in full swing, the coalition is raising the alarm about another threat.
Chilean salmon imports present a risk to this industry, a risk to biosecurity.
Promising to ban the product from Australia within 30 days if it forms government, and review the salmon import risk analysis, currently more than 2 decades old, commitments welcomed by the state government.
These sort of studies need to be undertaken to protect our community, but also ensure that our high quality Tasmanian salmon is not undercut by cheap imports.
The Federal Shadow Environment Minister calling on the Albanese government to also take a stand against the imports.
Where is the Labor government on this?
The Fisheries Minister argues that could have consequences for Australian exports.
What Senator Duniam and Peter Dutton have announced today could put at risk, of course, Australia's international trade. Over 70% of Australia's agricultural, fisheries and forestry product is exported overseas.
Marine experts say infected salmon imports remain a severe risk.
The issue with aquatic diseases is once they get into the country and into your waterways, it's almost impossible to eradicate them.
It's an issue that has the state's leading salmon lobby group fearing the worst.
I've probably spent more time worrying about this Chilean import decision than probably Macquarie Harbour over the last 6 months.
But Labor's controversial legislation to protect salmon farming on the state's west coast is already facing a legal challenge by the Bob Brown Foundation.
We believe there's a very strong case here. The new amendment has not covered the Maugean skate. Instead, it was all a ploy to try and buy votes in Braddon.
Though the major parties are standing by their decisions to see the bill through. Anthony Dodd, 7 Tasmania News.
Legislation cracking down on knife crime in Tasmania is expected to pass state parliament tomorrow. Reed's Law, named after Reed Ludwig, who was stabbed to death in Blackmans Bay in 2019, gives police wanting powers to look for concealed knives in public areas. It's modelled on similar legislation introduced in Queensland after the stabbing death there of teenager Jack Beasley.
We're very proud to be a part of these new laws being introduced down here in Tasmania.
The measure will also see an increase in the penalty for carrying a knife without a lawful excuse. A new community cultural precinct in Sorell is almost certain to go ahead, with both major parties promising to fund it if either of them win the upcoming election. Labor today pledging more than $2 million towards the project, including space for a wide range of community activities.
This has been a request made by the council to support them to continue to upgrade the facilities here so that they are accessible year-round.
The opportunities are endless. We've got food vans outside, coffee vans, markets, an amazing exhibition space.
The coalition made a similar commitment in December. Launceston Mayor Matthew Garwood is under more pressure to resign, this time from the local Chamber of Commerce, signing his conduct in the fallout over the Ronnie Radke photo scandal.
It's very important that the council work alongside business and that business has confidence in the council.
Mayor Garwood refused to comment on the Chamber's call, while an online petition to dump councillors who voted for a motion of no confidence in the Mayor has garnered over 3,500 signatures. Stage 1 water restrictions will be in place from Friday at Alford and Tribunna, and also at Lady Barron on Flinders Island. Taswater says it's due to dry weather and high usage over recent months. Residents there can only use sprinklers between 6 and 8 in the morning and 8 and 10 at night, while automatic watering will be limited to between midnight and 4 a.m. For more information, head to Taswater's website. Well, people with assistance animals say they face frequent discrimination. Tasmania is the only state not recognising the role of their companion. Advocacy groups are pushing for legal changes to ensure support animals are protected under anti-discrimination laws.
Ordering an Uber seems like a simple task for most, but for Vaughan it's a struggle, all because he usually has Fleabag with him, his assistant guide dog.
I receive probably 2 to 3 Uber guide dog refusals a week, and some people receive many, many more.
He says filing a complaint could take months or even years to gain a result.
And by that time, of course, people's memories have started failing. There's very little evidence to prove that it happened.
It's a similar problem that Daria faces, with her assistant dog Maverick, who's been trained to identify physical changes in her condition and alert her when she needs to take vital medication.
Most people are highly uneducated as to what assistance dogs are and what they do and what breeds they should be.
Tasmania is the only state in Australia that doesn't recognise the role of an assistant animal. The Tenants Union today launching a report to encourage the government to ensure assistant animals aren't classified as a pet and for them to be recognised in the Anti-Discrimination Act.
People like Vaughan and like Daria are missing out on the services that the rest of us take for granted.
But the state government says we need a nationwide response.
We can't have a set of laws for us here in Tasmania and then you get on a plane or a boat and go to Victoria and there's a different set of laws.
Vaughan and Daria simply don't have time to wait.
Having to explain to businesses all the time what the law is and what my rights are is not something that I should have to do.
Lily Thompson, 7 Tasmania News.
A new childcare centre with the added bonus of speech pathologists, psychologists and social workers on site has officially opened in Glenorchy. 40 families making use of its wraparound services since the centre's opening at the start of Term 1.
We haven't turned people away, but we certainly have no problem with demand. We are very fortunate that our location is very accessible.
It's a $30 million bucket of money that has now seen 6 CFLCs be built.
There are plans and funding to build another 4 centres in Smithton, Longford, Scottsdale and Huonville. A local animal shelter is grappling with an unmanageable load of new cats and kittens. It's been taking on nearly 20 a day since December. 10 Lives now desperate for the state government to pitch in and for future adoptees to come forward.
The number of cats at this 10 Lives centre has soared above pre-COVID levels.
Minimum, we're taking 10 cats or kittens into a care, 20 plus per day, and sometimes it's even higher than that.
These are just some of the 230 cats currently being cared for by volunteers, a record 800 taken in since December due to a range of social issues.
We're also finding that there's a lot more difficulty in the community, problems with rental accommodation, people that haven't got round to desexing their cats, cost of living pressures.
The cost of care also leading to a shortfall of potential adopters.
May cost you up to $1,200 a year to take a cat into your family.
10 Lives now asking the state government for $100,000 to contribute. That's only about 5% of what it actually needs to help keep these little guys happy and healthy.
The state government provided 10 Lives with $200,000 to expand its site in 2021 and says it continues to promote responsible cat management to alleviate stress on local organisations like this one. But 10 Lives needs more help.
The vital work we're doing for animal welfare, the community environment, needs some support or we just simply won't be able to keep up with the work.
Ruby Cairns, 7 Tasmania News.
After more than 2 decades of entertaining fishing lovers, one of Tasmania's longest-running local TV productions has reeled in its final catch. Airing first on this station, Hook, Line and Sinker has since become loved by many across the country. But while it's leaving our TV screens, it may not be the end of the line.
An end of an era for Tasmanian television.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is all that she wrote.
After 25 years and 300 episodes, Hook, Line and Sinker has docked to shore for the final time.
I've had mixed emotions, but I'm pretty happy that it's all done and dusted. It felt like the right time to end the show. I mean, to be honest, I would have kept doing it forever, but the landscape in media has changed.
What started as an idea during a weekend news shift for Andrew Hart and Nick Dygan turned into a mainstay of weekend viewing.
We made 2 episodes in 2000 and they very fortunately put them on air for us, and there was just enough interest for us to make a few more the next year.
The fact that fishing and a couple of mates just doing a TV show could take us and give us those experiences is quite remarkable.
From humble beginnings in 2000 right here in 7 Tasmania.
G'day everyone and welcome to Hook, Line and Sinker, Tasmania's own fishing show.
To airing nationally across the 7 network.
Oh no, you've broken the net again. What's going on, man?
Editor Sally Wilson had a front row seat to the action for the past 14 years.
Because it's not just a fishing show, it's also 2 mates going out trying to catch fish, a lot of the time not catching any fish, but just taking the mickey out of each other and just having a great time.
While the television show has reeled in its last fish, it's not yet time to hang up the rod just yet. Plans are underway to introduce Hook, Line and Sinker to a new audience.
We're going to keep the brand alive and really start ramping up YouTube and might even open a TikTok account.
Hoping to hook in a new generation. Mark Zita, 7 Tasmania News.
To think they got 25 years. Well, after a marathon 24 hours performing pull-ups, Launceston graphic designer Olivia Vinson is tonight getting some well-earned rest while she waits to learn if her world record attempt will be accepted. Under the watchful eye of adjudicators and several cameras, Olivia smashed the existing record of 4,080 pull-ups, managing to lift her chin over the bar 7,080 times in 24 hours.
Pretty good and pretty sore. Everything from my hips and above are, pretty tight. Started to get really hard probably in the last 5 to 6 hours.
It comes after she accidentally beat the 12-hour record during training earlier this month. But Olivia says she probably won't be repeating the feat anytime soon.
The Aussie men and women are both coming home with gold medals from the 3x3 Basketball Asia Cup in Singapore. Northwest Lockie Barker playing a starring role in the Kangaroos' run to the decider. They beat China 21-19 in the final. Heading into the Look SFL Premier League, North Hobart has grand plans to not only crawl out of the cellar, but lift the silverware. It all starts this weekend with hopes of a record-breaking attendance and packed grandstand.
In the Demons' heyday, North Hobart's Ryde Street Grandstand was the place to be during the footy season.
We used to have to line up at the gate at 10 o'clock to get into the Ryde Street stand. It was just like an extra player for us when we played other sides.
It wasn't a very nice place to be around if you was an opposition player.
When the Demons open their season against Kingborough on Saturday, these club stalwarts want to see it packed once again.
We really are looking to get back to some of the spirit of the old days. And everybody's got a story about in this local community about coming to this ground and watching great games of footy.
While they probably won't match the 11,000 who filled the ground to watch them lift the silverware in 1991, they're aiming for an achievable target, 522 supporters in the Ryde Street stand.
The unofficial world record for the most North Hobart supporters in the Ryde Street stand.
Much like the way the structure was rebuilt after an arson attack in 2012, Saturday could be the start of big things for the club, which hasn't managed to stray far from the bottom of the table in recent seasons.
The call to arms of all the North Hobart supporters, any that aren't, that are a bit either way with this new competition, let's get into Ryde Street stand and we'll give you a great day's entertainment.
The team, which only managed 3 wins in the TSL's final year, promising a major turnaround in the Premier League.
Clubs go through winning periods and losing periods, and we're absolutely confident that we're playing finals this year.
After claiming last year's Lackasoljak Cup in a nail-biter, Glenorchy has been booted from the round of 16 in very similar fashion. Down 4-2 against Devonport until the dying minutes, an equaliser from Nick Naden deep into stoppage time kept the dream alive. But Devonport's Dylan D'Agostino brought the decisive goal, blowing a few kisses to the crowd in Glenorchy for good measure. And Tasmanian cricket fans can get excited because the international game is returning to Hobart next summer. The Australian men's and women's teams will face India at Ninja Stadium in November this year and February 2026. It's music to the ears of our own Test player, Bo Webster.
We saw the final with the Hurricanes, just how much support they got and how much the place was rocking, I suppose. If we got some red ball, I think it'll be pretty similar.
And we'd love to see, obviously, a packed house at both of those international fixtures, both men and women.
The schedule marks the first time in 17 years that every Australian capital city will host international cricket. Very exciting, Kim. That's sport.
Yeah, and to get India too. Thanks very much, Nick. Well, stay with us. Murph's up next with the weather forecast.
Good evening, Hobart. 16 degrees today. Launceston and Burnie reached 19. Devonport recorded our high, 21 degrees. Still on the cool side though, temperatures mostly between 2 and 5 below average. Low Head and King Island 19 degrees. Flinders Island, Bushy Park and Strawn 18. Friendly Beaches and Grove 17 today. St Helens 16 and Lyawini a high of just 9. Low cloud across nearly all of the state today. The northwest with just some scattered cloud. Looking at the bigger picture, large parts of Central Australia found the ex-cyclone cloud today, with plenty more throughout the tropics and the Capricornia region of Queensland. Tomorrow we have a deep low sitting over the Tasman Sea to our east and also a ridge of high pressure with us ahead of a relatively weak cold front further to the west. Winds tending east-southeasterly tomorrow at 10 to 20 knots, but to 30 knots over the east with a 3.5 metre swell. So a strong wind warning there in the northeast from Flinders Island around and down to Wineglass Bay. Hobart tomorrow, a possible shower, 17 the top, 18 for Adventure Bay, cloudy for Tarraleah, 3 overnight, 15 the high. Launceston 20 and partly cloudy, mostly sunny for Devonport, 8 overnight, 20 the top tomorrow and 21 the high for Bridport. Burnie 19 and mostly sunny, a sunny day for Strawn, 19 as well, and 20 the high for Marrawar. St Helens tomorrow 18 with a shower or two. Shower also for Swansea, 17 the top, and 19 for Whitemark. A cloudy day on Flinders Island. On Wednesday, a fine partly cloudy day for most of the state. Showers developing from the west on Thursday, pushing right across the state in the afternoon and evening, and showers for the west and far south on Friday. Just isolated showers for other parts that may increase later in the day as well. A sunny day tomorrow for Perth and Adelaide, partly cloudy in Melbourne, a possible shower forecast for Sydney. Also showers for Brisbane and to the north. In fact, some heavy falls expected over Alice Springs. Just light showers around Hobart. It's 14 at the moment, 16 in Launceston, clear in Devonport and 16. That's the way it is right now, Kim.
Thank you, Merv. Catch you tomorrow. And that is all your news for now. We'll have updates later. For now, though, it's good night.